with all the updates that you're looking forward to. Before we do so, let's look at some of the top stories that we have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, police a short probe after 19-year-old was found dead in suspected gang rape case at Twifo, Praso. Also coming up tonight, Interior Minister gives Ashanti Regional Police Command 6 months ultimatum to crack down on activities in a notorious Kumasi drug hub, Tenka Island.
And now working together with the Narcotic Control Commission, this is a problem that you're able to use to analyze.
Well, later in the bulletin, we'll tell you why calls for an investigation into 2 suspicious flights that landed in Ghana in March have turned into a heated political clash. In business, a refund of E-Levy deductions from April 2 will be completed by April 7. And on the international front, China and US are at each other's throats on tariffs, and neither is backing down. Tonight, we'll bring you more details on this particular tariff war. All right, so be my guest tonight as we bring you all these stories and many more. Well, we're coming back shortly with all the details on news tonight. My name is Kweku. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. Rather, on a sad note tonight, Police Commander for the Twifo Ati Mokwa District Superintendent Charles Adai Boateng says investigations have begun to unravel circumstances which led to the death of a young lady. A teenager identified as Nana Zenabu, believed to be about 19 years old, was found dead in her bedroom with 3 used condoms at Twifo, Praso in the central region. Well, neighbors suspected that the teenager, seamstress apprentice, was gang raped in her room till she died. An eyewitness who lives in the same house with the victim said she chanced on the body after waking up at dawn around 4:30 a.m. to prepare food for sale. Well, she noticed that Nana Zenabu's door was unusually opened and entered only to find her lying naked and lifeless. Well, the eyewitness further stated that the victim's mouth had been sealed with a substance like super glue and saw 3 used condoms near the body. Well, she then shouted for help, and people who came around reported the matter to the Praso police station. Well, the incident has caused fear and panic among the residents of Praso, particularly as Nana Zenabu was expected to graduate from her apprenticeship this year. The body has been deposited at the Twifo Ati Mokwa District Hospital for further examination. The police says investigations have begun and those involved will be brought to justice. May the soul of Nana Zenabo rest in perfect peace. If you have any information on the death of this 19-year-old, kindly reach out to the police and ensure that the perpetrators are brought to book. Well, let's look at other stories tonight. In a bold move to tackle the scourge of human trafficking, Mr. Kosua Adochwa, a Japan Circuit Court judge at Achimota, issued a clarion call to Ghanaian security agencies. Well, she urged them to join forces with their Nigerian counterparts to crack down a notorious commercial sex worker who had managed to evade justice. Well, the fugitive, a key player in a complex web of human trafficking, had left a trail of devastation in her wake. Well, the judge's directive came on the heels of a conviction as 22-year-old Nikki Isabella alias Bella was sentenced to 5 years in prison for human trafficking. Legal Affairs correspondent Mutala Enusa has more.
She claims innocence. Very emotional one, isn't it? But of course, the law has spoken. Nikki Sabella, 22 years of age, has been sentenced to 5 years imprisonment by the circuit court in Achimota for human trafficking. She was found guilty, and upon pregnancy test conducted to satisfy requirements, if it involves a lady, has come out that she's not pregnant. And the court, after listening to mitigation factors, including the convict, who said that she has done nothing wrong and still maintains her innocence, still thinks that the court should have had mercy for her. But the court thinks that the law must work, and especially also because the mastermind, the kingpin of this action is on the run. The court wants the Ghanaian security agencies to liaise with the Nigerian counterparts to ensure that these persons are arrested and are brought to book. But at such time that these people are brought to book, Nikki Sabella will still serve her 5-year custodial sentence. But he came to court with somebody who has been supporting her from day one, and he thinks that the convict was punished wrongly.
She's innocent. She don't know anything about that thing. It's the same woman that sponsored those girls. It's the same woman that sponsored her too. I'm the one that said I will pay for her transport. But last year, July, I lost my dad, so I didn't do anything. I have to go back to a village. When I come back, that's when I hear that the case is already in the court. And I'm the one that do witness for her, do testify for her, because I know her very well. She's innocent, so I will fight for her.
Innocent because she's not a prostitute.
She's not the person, yeah. And she's not
a prostitute.
She's not a prostitute.
And she doesn't also involve in human trafficking.
Yes.
She doesn't bring girls from Nigeria.
Yes, she's ever done it before.
Prostitution.
Yes.
You can vouch for that.
Yes, I can swear for that.
Few moments after he had this education from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, specifically the Nigerian in Diaspora organization, Chief Kalitus, also a Nigerian, one of the Nigerian leaders in the country. She has this education from him.
You have to get the law enforcement agency before they were able to release these two girls. That was what happened. You were not there. You are basing what you're saying based on what she has told you. And where she was is at ability. And that is where they were doing prostitution. And once they were there were more than 40 something of them in the same building. And she admitted in writing that this is what she does in Ghana, that she's doing prostitution. She also admitted that the money that the girl gets for prostitution, that she's the one that takes it to keep for herself and whoever person that she claimed that is her partner. So you cannot come and accuse the law enforcement agency and the court as if they have convicted an innocent person who did nothing. That cannot be right. What we should be doing as citizens is to use this as a deterrent to others, to tell them to trafficking our girls to this place that is not nice. Because I can see the way you're speaking. You're speaking because you felt bad that in Nigeria can be punished. The same way we wouldn't have to want her to be punished, let us also collaborate together and make sure they don't punish our own citizens here too. That is why I decided to speak to you, because I know you are speaking ignorantly because you are not part of even the time the girl was rescued. That is exactly why I decided to talk to you.
But of course, The director of the anti-human trafficking unit of the CID headquarters, DSP William Ayariga, sends a strong signal to all those involved in this sort of offenses.
I know it is there, but we are also doing our best, fighting, arresting them, prosecuting if there is evidence. Don't forget, last year, the anti-human trafficking unit alone, we had about 9 convictions. And you'll be surprised that one of them had 20 years, unprecedented since the promulgation of Human Trafficking Act 694. Last year, one person was convicted for 20 years. And I'm telling you, we are sending out a clear message that crime, whether human trafficking, migrant smuggling, or any other crime for that matter, will not be countenance in the country. I will not relent in our efforts until all perpetrators of the heinous crime are brought to book.
Certainly, an emotional one for Nikki Sabella, who in the next 5 years will have to spend that in lawful custody. The decision of the court is to serve as a deterrent to others who have in mind of perpetrating actions like this. From the Achimota District Court here in Accra, Mutala Inusa, GHOne.
My name is Kweku. Let's still bring you some more stories. And now, for weeks now, the issue of drug abuse and its socioeconomic impact have been topical within the Ghanaian media landscape. Well, a BBC expose into the smuggling of opioids into Ghana and a social media trend, Unim Red, highlights the extent of the problem. Well, as part of efforts to deal with this worrying issue, Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak has ordered the Ashanti Regional Police Command to dismantle Tinker Island, a notorious Kumasi drug hub, in 6 months. Well, Isaac Justice Bediako has more in the following report.
Tinker Island has long been identified as a hotspot for illicit drug trade and other criminal activities in Kumasi, drawing concerns from both residents and security agencies. Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak has therefore directed the Ashanti Central Commander to take swift action against drug trade and other criminal activities in the notorious drug hub. During a meeting with senior officers as part of his 2-day working visit to the Ashanti region, the minister stressed the importance of a well-researched and strategic approach in tackling the drug menace. He called on law enforcement to carry out a thorough operation while ensuring that innocent people are not affected.
Anything I want to do for you in this region, I have reason to say that you're able to deal with this. And I know working together with the Narcotic Control Commission, this is a problem that you're able to use to honor me. That at least in my own backyard, this thing that has lingered for so long. When I became Interior Minister, you were able to use your intelligence, you were able to use your men and women to be able to get it to be the thing of the past. And when you do that, I think that will be a golden award to me, and that will help me to also reciprocate that good gesture with so many other things that may help you in your region.
The minister's directive is expected to result in increased police presence and intensified efforts to dismantle the network of illegal activities operated in the area. The minister also promised to retool the police service in the region to meet the public's expectations.
We are going to be stopping space that anything that we want to do, we will not forget our home. I've been told about the challenge of vehicles, I've been told about the challenge of motorbikes, I've been told about the challenge of accommodation, I've been told about the challenge of so many other things, even medical facilities and what have you. By the grace of God, I don't intend to perform magic, that I come to see you today and then tomorrow all these problems are over. No. But I can assure you that I have your back.
During the meeting, the minister commended the police for their commitment towards protecting life and property before, during and after the 2024 general elections. He directed for persons who created chaos at various polling stations to be processed for prosecution.
And I hope that all those who misbehave in one police station or the other, the videos that you have, I, as your secretary, is going to support you to ensure that those individuals are brought to book, so that next time when you decide not to fire any arm, people will understand you are not firing because you are going to pursue the perpetrators and bring them to book. So I want to encourage you to take up that very seriously, that almost every station or police station that people misbehave and you have the videos, please bring it forward and let's prosecute those individuals to serve as a deterrent.
The Ashanti Central Police Command has assured the minister of its commitment to successfully executing his directives.
All right, so allow me to stay more on crime as the push for an investigation into two suspicious flights that landed in Ghana in March has taken a personal turn. Well, this comes after Ranking Member of Parliament on Defense and Interior Committee, Reverend GHOne and Minister of State for Government Communications, Felix Kweku Ofosu, exchanged strong worded statements, each defending their stance, while the Asen South MP had earlier raised concerns over two aircrafts, that's Air Med Flight N823AM and Kovok Air Antonov, that's An-12B, suspected of transporting cocaine and cash into the country. Well, he demanded an urgent briefing on their cargo. More details in the following report.
On April 1, the minority in Parliament decried the rise in cases of drug trafficking and money laundering since the NDC assumed power on January 7, 2025. Speaking to the media, Reverend GHOne alleged that Air Med Flight N823AM landed in Ghana on March 20 and remained for 5 days without any record of transporting a patient.
The intelligence we have intercepted indicates that the first one to enter the country on 12th March is the Kovok Air private jet, Antonov An-12B, that's the number. So we are providing the specific details of the flight. It landed 12th of March, and it is a private jet. It landed from an island of Spain, Gran Canaria, and we all know what happens in Gran Canaria. They are noted for money laundering, cocaine, and other illicit drugs.
Within 24 hours, President John Dramani Mahama ordered security agencies to launch a full-scale investigation. Here is an excerpt from the presidency statement. However, Reverend Ntimfojua intensified calls for accountability by pushing to summon officials from National Security, Police CID, the Narcotics Control Commission, and the National Intelligence Bureau before Parliament to provide updates on a series of high-profile cocaine busts, including a $350 million drug case. But Peter Lanchenetobu, Vice Chair of the Defense and Interior Committee, accused Ntimfojua of compromising national security by making sensitive details public.
The Defense and Interior Committee level, we don't do partisan politics. When we are getting into the room to have any other meeting that has to do with Defense and Interior Committee, we tell the members, hang your partisan friend behind the door and enter. We are talking about the security of the state. Without planet security, without a solid country, no political party will exist. And without a solid democracy, Parliament will not even be in existence. So let's leave partisan politics behind and talk about the security of the state.
Meanwhile, AirMed International, operators of flight N823AM, strongly denied allegations of drug trafficking and money laundering, revealing exclusive details in the communication with EIB's senior reporter Joshua Kujumensa. The government accused Reverend Ntimfojua of snubbing an invitation from the National Security to assist with investigations. Felix Kweku Ofosu, Minister of State for Government Communications, dismissed Ntimfojua's claims as baseless.
The claims of Ntimfojua are false. He cannot prove it. That is why he is running away from the investigative bodies. He is unable to provide any shred of evidence to back his claim. I can report to you that because he knew he was peddling total falsehoods and lies, he now claims, after being invited to assist with investigations, that he was speaking on behalf of the committee that he was part of, and that the views he expressed were not his personal views. So because of that, he says he's unable to cooperate with the security agencies. I say that he was peddling falsehood because the facts as they exist vary completely from the claims that he made.
Will this political war of words between the government and the ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee ever end? Your guess is as good as mine.
More on security, as the Central Regional Minister has encouraged police personnel in the Central North Police Command to stand firm in the fight against Galamsey after their colleague fell into Galamsey pit and died during an anti-Galamsey operation at Asin Isaman. GHOne has more in the following report.
According to the Central North Regional Police Commander, ACP Abraham Akwe, his men are now living in fear after the death of their colleague during an anti-Galamsey operation. He explained to GHOne News' GHOne what exactly happened.
The night fight and opportunity. And so now, there's a bit of a and that's a bit of operation. So once my rescuers ever move or more a unit person. And ensure I don't know why. It takes about 4 good hours and sana divers and no more motor so call it a buy. The company buy now as a GHOne. Let me call hospital and said you.
The Central Regional Minister, Ekopingin Iduamwa Otre, visited the Central North Police Command at Asinfosu to commiserate with the officers. The minister says he felt sad after hearing the death of Police Constable Dugbe and pledged to collaborate with the security officers to fight the menace.
Let's fight, but let's do that with diligence. Let's be careful. Let's take ourselves out of compromises. Because the information out there is not all that good. That even you go there, amongst you there are those who will give information that we are coming. So do not stay. And that some of you receive some things for the information you give. How can you open up? How can you give yourself into this fight and at the same time shoot yourself in the back?
The police says it has duly informed the family of the late officer about his passing and will offer the necessary support.
This is news tonight. Some more stories. Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa, is urging the newly formed Association of China-Ghana Mining LBG to strictly comply with Ghana's mining laws. Well, he emphasized that sustainable and environmental responsibility mining practices are non-negotiable and essential to preserving the country's natural resources and protecting the environment.
The Association of China-Ghana Mining LBG, initiated by leading Chinese mining enterprises with deep roots in Ghana, aims to deepen bilateral dialogue, nurture investment and technological synergy, and champion a model of sustainable, responsible and environmentally friendly mining practices. Delivering a keynote address on behalf of President John Dramani Mahama at the launch of the ECGM in Accra, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa, reaffirmed the government's tough stance against illegal mining, vowing that the law would deal ruthlessly with any entity or individual who violates mining regulations.
In this regard, we expect the association to actively steer its members towards strict compliance with Ghana's mining laws and regulations. The association must serve as a beacon of integrity, ensuring that its members operate within the set legal frameworks of our country, uphold environmental standards, uplift local communities, and contribute positively to our nation's sustainable development agenda.
He further stated that the government is committed to fostering an enabling environment for investors who align with the vision of responsible mining.
The ministry remains committed to providing a stable and enabling regulatory environment for all investors who share in our vision of responsible mining. Responsible mining is not optional. It is a shared obligation for future generations. We welcome the association's commitment to combating this issue collaboratively.
On his part, the Chinese ambassador to Ghana, Tong Defa, explained that the establishment of the association serves as a bridge for a win-win cooperation between Ghana and China in the mining industry.
The establishment of the association aligns with Ghana's goals of modernization its mining industry in a sustainable way and could help Chinese enterprises better integrate into the local market, enhance the quality of cooperation, and achieve mutual benefits and win-win results.
Meanwhile, chairman of the ACGM, Tanzanian, pledged the association will partner with the Ministries of Lands and Natural Resources and Youth Development and Empowerment in the recently announced Youth in Mining program aimed at promoting responsible mining, technological innovation and community-driven development under a cooperative system.
Well, allow me to stay on the story some more. Let's go over the phone lines and speak to the convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Engineer Dr. Ken Ashigbe. Well, yeah, Dr. Ashigbe, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Let me find out from you. So, looks like the fight against Galamsey is taking shape by the day. From formation of water guard to the classification of the menace as a terror act to this latest admonition for miners to strictly adhere to the mining laws of the land, or risks facing sanctions. Are we making the much needed progress we yearn for in the fight against Galamsey, Engineer Ashigbe?
Well, thank you very much. So we need to acknowledge the fact that there are some positive things that are beginning to happen. You hear about the Minister for Interior ordering the IGP to transfer all police commanders within the mining enclave. That's definitely a good one. And the fact that after they'll be on 3 months probation, and if they don't do what they ought to be done, the more transfers will happen. That definitely is a good act. For the minister to refer to Galamsey as a terrorist act is apt and rightly so, and goes forward to say that there will be no order from above and everybody will be dealt with. It's also a positive act as well. And then you have other issues that the minister have talked about the tracking of excavators, and then we know that once the MMBCs are appointed, the licensing regime will change, and then they will decentralize that. That is also in the positive direction. However, there are some very disturbing things that ought to be pointed out to the government. The fact that you have a terrorist activity on your land, but then the president is failing to deploy the state of emergency and use emergency activities to be able to deal with the challenges that confront us. The situation where 2 days ago you got a policeman who lost his life because he was going to deal with some of these chamfans and was swept away by the currents. The fact that we currently have a forestry guard in Komfanoche who is fighting for his life, having done surgery last week. Beggars believe why the president will not declare a state of emergency, so that the specialized fast-track courts that the Minister for Lands is saying is working with the Attorney General and the Chief Justice to bring would not then deal with these issues and ensure that once you arrest these people, you can take them to the court within 24 hours, like the UK did during the rout. You would be able to dispose of the case and ensure that the case that happened in NG, for example, would not happen. Then another disturbing one is for the Minister for Interior, having commended him for the police reshuffle, then will tell us that he's going to flout the Act 995, the Minerals and Mining Act, as amended in 2019. When you look at Section 5 of it, that talks about that if there are non-foreigners who are going to be deported, you need to make sure they serve the sentence first. So why would the minister, who was in parliament when this act was passed, wanting to subvert this particular law and say he's going to deport foreigners who are involved in the illegal mining and then discriminate against Ghanaians? That definitely is not right, and that ought to be looked at. Then the final one is for the parliament and the government who had in opposition stated that they were going to revoke and repeal LI 2462, now to be in the process of amending it, an action that would only save 10%. of our forest reserve rather than saving 60, forgetting that what ought to be done is to revoke this law completely. And if it is that the government wants the EPA involved, so large-scale miners like Newmont, Chirano, the bauxite mines, who have been mining in some part of the forest reserve responsibly over this number of years, and you want the EPA to go in there and monitor the activities, you then can introduce a new piece of legislation to get that to happen. But wanting to get that law just amended as you're doing it, you will be jeopardizing our forests. And thank God that now we are almost close to about 3,500 Ghanaians who have signed a petition asking, His Excellency the President to ensure that there is a revocation of the law. So generally, I think the Minister for Lands is on the right course, but however, there are a few things that ought to be done and done right.
Well, Engineer Kanashigbe, just before I let you go, he was speaking to key Chinese campaigns in the mining industry. Do you think his message reached out to them well enough for us to... You don't think so? You're shaking your head already.
I'm completely disappointed. I am completely disappointed that the minister would get such an opportunity and not call the Chinese out. I would have thought that the minister in this meeting would have given the Chinese the statistics going as far back as the time of Operation Vanguard, the number of Chinese people who are involved in the illegality. Yes, these might be people who want to be able to come and do the right things, but we need to point out clearly and call the Chinese out that a lot of their people are responsible in connivance with Ghanaians to the illegality that's happening. So yes, the minister said a few things, about enforcing the law, but he did not point out to these people that it is their kith and kin who are behind a lot of the images that you are showing on our screen, working together with their Chinese, with their Ghanaian collaborators. So I think that when some of these niceties and some of these events are called, we need to point out to the Chinese and let them know that in as much as they have their people who want to do legal and responsible mining, there are too many of their people who are responsible for the damage that is being done to our environment. And they need to be, in as much as they want to come and now do responsible mining, they need to be at the forefront of it, calling their people to order. Otherwise, as said in our adage, one bad nut will spoil the whole lot of them. And so I would have thought, I didn't listen to the entire speech of the minister, but when I listened to it, it was only the import of what he said in terms of admonishing them about the need for them, to do responsible mining. Then I'm disappointed that he did not call them out. And I would, if I were him, I would have given the statistics going as far back as when Operation Vanguard was, where over 80% of the foreigners who were involved in Galamsey were all of Chinese extraction.
Well, Engineer Kanashigbe, just before I also let you go, the last time we interacted, we talked about mercenaries invading our territory. This time, hardcore criminals with assault rifles in and around the Banot region. Well, have you followed up? Has there been any change? Is the situation still the same?
Well, the situation is still the same. And so when the minister mentions the fact that there are terrorists involved in this activity, that's what he's referring to. He's referring to the fact that currently you have these illegal miners who have gone into our neighboring countries and are going to import, mercenaries, some of them ex-combatants who are very heavily armed, who in the presence of the police are able to beat up two journalists. One from Multimedia, one from City FM. And the reason they could do that is because they have outnumbered, they have outgunned our military. These are the same people who were able to also ambush the Forestry Commission guards when the military had gone and turned a particular forest reserve from the red state into amber. They were still able to ambush this Forestry Commission people, and now this Forestry Commission staff is currently fighting for his life. They are the people that the minister is called terrorists. You go into some of these communities, all the language you hear them speak is French and other foreign dialects that is not native to us. It is the reason why we need to call on His Excellency the President to declare a state of emergency into these forests and ensure that we just don't go and flush them out, but we actually capture all of these people and deal with these people decisively. We should not follow the policy prescription of the Interior Minister who talks about deportation, but these people should be punished. And we should throw more than just the Minerals and Mining Act at them. We should throw various laws about, terrorists and their activities, in our country. And so it is important for His Excellency, the President, to know that his presidency itself, our democracy and our national security is at risk. And it's important that we deal with these extraordinary challenges that confront us. So far as these mercenaries, so far as these, high tax who have been brought in to now provide protection for these illegal miners are concerned. And we should learn from the issues in Mali. The coup in Mali came out from such operations around illegal mining. You go into the examples of Liberia, go into the examples of Sierra Leone. If even you look at Boko Haram, same thing, politicians wanting to use this combatants, and finally the combatants realize the fact that if we are able to provide these for these politicians, why don't we do it for themselves? So these combatants who are currently providing security for these illegal miners, knowing the amount of money in, they could now take it over after they've dealt with gold that is exhausted. Then they can say, well, why don't we take a district? Why don't we expand it to a region? By the time we see it, we have something else on our hands. So I would plead to His Excellency the President and say to him that his commitment to the fight against galamsey, we have seen some of the positive ones, but it's important that he declares a state of emergency in the forest reserves on the water bodies. It's important that he gets his super majority in Parliament to repeal LI 2462. It's important that he speaks to his Minister for Interior to stop this policy of just deporting foreigners involved in the illegal mining. But I would definitely dog my heart out to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, and by extension even to the Minister of Interior for some of the things they're doing. The EPA boss is also really also doing the right thing. And what we need to do is to support all of these people so that we can win this fight that confronts us.
Engineer, thank you very much for your time tonight. We definitely would engage you as and when we get all other issues coming up. We'll now have to continue with the rest of the stories. And here, the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete GHOne, has met with former IGPs at the National Police Headquarters in Accra on Wednesday, April 2. Well, the meeting served as a platform for the former police chiefs to share their experiences and offer counsel aimed at strengthening the administrative and operational effectiveness of the Ghana Police Service.
This time in the history of the Ghana Police Service, an Inspector General of Police has actively sought views, suggestions, and guidance from his predecessors to shape his administration. Beyond the usual stakeholder engagements, Inspector General of Police Christian Tete GHOne has taken a step further by engaging with all retired former IGPs. The meeting, held on Wednesday, April 2, aimed to foster collaboration between the current leadership and former IGPs to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the Ghana Police Service.
We had meetings, previously, IGP meeting, but this one took for its own initiative. That if I want to go the right way, I have to talk to people who have done it before, who have it all and know it all, to assist me to ensure that I take over a successful police service.
Discussions focused on personal welfare, crime fighting strategies, capacity building, stakeholder engagement, ongoing reforms, and broader issues related to security, law, and order in the country.
We have been telling our experiences and then also current situation in the world globally concerning security, and also how to manage people, especially police personnel, because policing is a different area altogether. There are some tenets and some principles to follow. So we come to make sure that he's head of the police institution, the safety of the public, everything rests in his hands, the security of the country also. For everything to build up, we have a very concrete security setting or base. We come to tune his mind to what we also to ensure that policing is a collective responsibility of him and his personnel, but not a one-man show business.
The meeting concluded with a commitment to regular engagements to ensure the continued growth and efficiency of the police service.
Among other things, the meeting is expected to bridge the gap between previous administrations and the current one. Issues including issues bordering on personnel welfare, police reforms, police operations, security across the country, and other general issues affecting the Ghana Police Service, as well as the security, law and order of the country. And the purpose is to ensure and improve the administrative and operational effectiveness and efficiency of the Ghana Police Service.
In attendance were Christopher Komala, GHOne, PK Echampong, Ernest Owusu-Poku, Nana Stephen Owusu-Nsia, Elizabeth Mills Robertson, John Kudalo, David Asante Apietu, and James Opombuano.
Who was looking for Dampare out there like I was looking for him? But later on, maybe we'll find out. But you can join us on our social media platform with all your comments on any of the stories that we've shared with you. Let's still take some more local stories. As the Nungwamanche and president of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, Oboade Noche, King Professor Odaifio Welenchi III, has urged the newly appointed Inspector General of Police, Christian Teteyonu, to prioritize tackling rising criminal activities in cyber threats and social unrest. King Welenchi III emphasized that Ghana, like many nations, is facing increasingly complex security threats requiring a community-driven approach to policing. He made the call when IGP GHOne and members of the Police Management Board paid a courtesy call on him and the Babu Ulomo at Nungwa.
As part of his efforts to ensure an inclusive and consultative leadership, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Christian Teteyonu, on Thursday, April 3rd, paid a courtesy call on two key traditional leaders in Nungwa, the Nungwamanche and the Supreme Head of the Bobu Temple. During the visit, the IGP introduced members of his management board to the esteemed leaders, seeking their counsel and blessings to guide his administration in effectively leading the Ghana Police Service. The Director of Administration at the Office of the Bobu Ulomo, Reverend Dr. Daniel Ni Jesse Ankara, encouraged the new IGP to draw on his extensive experience in law enforcement to uphold the core values of integrity, peace, and order.
The role of the Inspector General goes beyond enforcing laws, but about fostering collaboration between the police and the communities they serve. It is about restoring, maintaining trust, and above all, safeguarding the rights and safety of every Ghanaian citizen.
Additionally, he called for increased police visibility in Nungwa to enhance security in the area.
The increasing influx of foreign nationals and other activities taking place within Nungwa, we are deeply concerned about the current state of security. Therefore, we request establishment of a permanent police post within Nungwa Township. This will help ensure effective policing, rapid response times, and an overall improved sense of security for the community.
The Nungwamanche and President of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, Oboade Noche King Professor Odaifio Welenchi III, expressed confidence that IGP GHOne will lead by example to effectively tackle the security challenges ahead.
Prove your naysayers wrong. Play your role in ensuring the rule of law is upheld. The rights of all individuals are protected. And the public's trust and confidence in our police force is restored.
He congratulated the IGP on his appointment and urged him to adopt a more community-centered approach to policing.
Away from Nungwa, let's take you to the Bono region, and here drivers and car owners in the Bono region have strongly opposed the call by the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority. I'm talking about the DVLA boss to legalize the activities of middlemen, popularly referred to as Goro boys. Well, speaking during a public interaction, they argue that legitimizing such activities would only fuel corruption and inefficiency within the driver and vehicle licensing regime.
The Chief Executive of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, Julius Kweku, has proposed formalizing the operations of middlemen, commonly known as Goro boys, who operate around DVLA offices, offering unofficial assistance with vehicle registration and licensing services. In a radio interview on Tuesday, April 1, Kote urged that rather than attempting to eliminate their activities, the government should consider integrating them into the system. His remark has sparked immediate public debate, with the majority of commentators strongly opposing the proposal. Drivers and vehicle owners in the Bono region have joined the debate and are strongly pushing back against a proposal by the DVLA boss, arguing that it would entrench corruption and make the system even more difficult for ordinary Ghanaians.
Boys in Beba Emwa was Beba Bua Gates and Obekoku Jinawa. Omitimi Adam Gaby Giskabi more, not two. Lands and so kwakwa and be fake.
Goro boys ni jiskana omo koma wo mobi ansana omo asan wa yengesa goro boy ni be die ni ba bi obewura office no bia omo bia sika no bi ompanyifo no omo nim omo ya we se sa ne mana kosu nyina omo ya we omo ka ho bi na ekosa.
They insist that instead of legitimizing these intermediaries, the DVLA should focus on streamlining its processes to enhance efficiency and transparency.
Almost Zigana, your dictator, and the electronics were a quantum as in manual, and that didn't see Moma Eco Dictano, and I'll wear their etching. Meme question to pay for.
Others are advocating for a fully digitized system that would allow licensing and renewal applications to be completed electronically, which they believe would help reduce service fees and improve fairness.
Na attest no so no bia be no we is adban no omo ye furo de ko ba bi foforo na no so akwakwe how kese ewum be ba woni nyina boa no wo faako amya ye bibia de a nenkeye.
Whether the DVLA will listen to the concerns of drivers or move ahead with its proposal remains to be seen.
All right, all is set for us to bring you the latest happenings from our world of business. The Electronic Money Issuer Chamber of Ghana has announced that all electronic transfers, e-levy charges applied in mobile money and other digital transactions from April 2, 2025 will be fully refunded by Monday, April 7, 2025. Well, this follows a directive issued by the Ghana Revenue Authority on April 2, instructing all entities to cease applying the e-levy in line with the government's repeal of the tax under the Electronic Transfer Levy Repeal Act 2025, Act 1128. In a statement released today, the EMI's chamber, which represents the major platforms including AT Money, GHOne, and Mobile Money Limited, Telecel, Cash, and ZPay, confirmed that its members have complied with the directive and are actively processing customers' refund. While the chamber further assured the public that the robust system have been deployed to prevent any accidental charges of the now abolished levy. It emphasized that any unintended deductions will be promptly refunded by the respective service providers. So yes, e-levy is totally out. If you were mistakenly charged, expect that it will be refunded to you. in business, Dr. Naomi Wulali Kwete has been appointed as the acting managing director of the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited by President John Dramani Mahama. Alongside Dr. Kwete, Sheila Azuntaba has been nominated as deputy managing director, with both appointments taking effect from March 26, 2025. Well, the letter also instructed the board to formalize the appointments in accordance with the Companies Act 2019, Act 992, and the Banking Constitution. Well, Dr. Naomi Wulali Kwete is a seasoned banking professional with over 20 years of experience in corporate banking, treasury management, credit, and strategic management. Well, Dr. Kwete holds a doctorate in business administration, a master's of arts in business and international banking and finance, and a Bachelor of Arts in economics. Well, she is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers and a chartered dealer. We say congratulations to her. All right, so that's about all we have for you in business. GHOne Champon is coming up shortly with the latest from our world of sports.
Hello there, good evening and welcome. This is Sports News here on News Tonight. My name is Joel Champong. Let's start off with the Technical Director for the Ghana Volleyball Association, Alfred Awuku, who is revealed that female volleyball in the country is gradually losing its prominence. Speaking on the game, Awuku explained and pointed out the decline of the interest from the system, particularly within the senior high schools, which are crucial to the development of the sport.
If you witness Ghana police ladies playing against Ghana prisons ladies, you enjoy volleyball. Okay. Watching Ghana police against even a civilian club, those days, Vaco ladies, you enjoy volleyball. Okay. This time, the lady volleyball is going down and it's affecting the league. Exactly. It's going down because some years back, before a player, a lady, a girl finishes what we call secondary school. Okay. Yes, not nowadays. That player is on top already. I joined the national team just after my secondary school.
Wow.
Okay. Just after my secondary school, I was in the national team. But currently, students come out of the SS and still they are not there.
Will you say
100% so? 100% so, because the motivation is not there.
Okay.
Some schools ask me to come for some tutorials.
Yeah.
And you see the students don't come. Then when you ask, the math teacher is having something. The chemistry teacher is having something. If you don't go, the man is teaching.
Yeah. Well, he went on to emphasize the need for greater involvement from corporate Ghana to help boost the sport's visibility and participation among the youth, ensuring that volleyball can regain its momentum and continue to thrive in the country.
Our prayer is we get a corporate body, just one corporate body, to come to our aid, so that if we are going in for the youth program, you know, I am a product of Milo Championship, then Bonvita Championship. So a student in the school, and then there will be a Milo Championship, there will be a Bonvita Championship. Yes, I would like to learn, but I love volleyball, I like basketball, and I want to be part of Bonvita. So let me portion some time to train so that I'll be playing for the school's
national team.
The school's team.
Okay,
when it comes to the Milo Championship or the Bonvita Championship. Currently, what is motivating a child? So even now, if we have gotten a sponsor, let's go for a school's program.
Yeah,
it's a school's program. It should be something that will motivate them.
All right, before we wrap up the news, just run through most of the games coming up in the Ghana Premier League games, match number 26. On Sunday, we're going to see Accra Hearts of Oak come up against Midiama. Hearts of Lions will also lock ons with Asante Kotoko, and Dreams FC face Gold Stars, while Samatek, defending champions, come up against Accra Lions in their fixture. So Young Apostles will also be playing Legon Cities, Basake Holy Stars, and Brekum Chelsea. Adriana Stars will also play Vision FC. And on Monday, we're going to see Nations FC come up against Karela. That's how we wrap up the sports. And also, before we go, there are games coming up in the English Premier League. Just 2 more games to end the Premier League. Everton will be playing Arsenal, Crystal Palace, and Brighton Hove Albion. Ipswich takes on Wolverhampton Wanderers, West Ham and Bournemouth, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest, as well as Brentford and Chelsea. The big game, obviously, is going to be between Manchester United and Manchester City. That is the Manchester Derby game coming up for you. I don't know which team Kweku supports, but it promises to be quite a sports-filled weekend, actually. Quite a huge sports-filled weekend. And we're bringing a lot of updates to viewers as well, Kweku.
All right, definitely. I mean, but if you ask me about my team, don't laugh. We're looking at Piby Brim. All right, so I'm going straight, bringing you up to speed on what is happening on the international front. And here, American companies looking to sell into the vast Chinese market have just faced a significant setback. Well, China has announced a series of countermeasures against tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump, including additional tariffs of some 34% on all U.S. goods and restrictions on the export of some rare earth escalating the ongoing trade war that's between China and the United States of America. On Wednesday, Trump revealed that China would be subjected to a 34% tariff on top of the 20% imposed earlier this year, bringing the total new levies to some 54%. Well, China's Ministry of Finance announced that these additional tariffs will take effect from April 10. Beijing has previously imposed 15% tariffs on imports of coal and liquefied natural gas from the U.S., retailing against Washington's 10% levies on Chinese goods. China also unveiled export controls on key minerals, restricting what could be exchanged with the United States of America. So yes, the tariff war continues between the United States of America and China, as China has retaliated. All right, so we're appreciating you for staying with us throughout the 1 hour. My name is Kweku. On behalf of the entire production team tonight, we salute you. We appreciate you and urge you to stay with us as we bring you nothing but the best of education, information, and entertainment. If you missed that, this is GHOne TV and the program What's News Tonight. Enjoy your evening.